Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Sleeping Dogs. You may notice I've had a bit of a wardrobe change here. Well, here's the thing. I did all of Trans Deliveries. I got all of the cameras that were available, and I finished all of the races. And between the face experience and the money I got... hang on. Wrong category. I was able to buy every scrap of clothing in the entire game, including all of the special outfits. This one happens to add plus 40% to my melee damage, which is important because of the thing I'm about to do. In fact, let's stack some bonuses here. Oh yeah, clipping through the cupboard. Right, so there was one activity I failed to do last time. Although I suppose it's an event. Oh, but before I get started... Yeah, guess what? I got level 10 face. Which means I'm uninterruptible. Everything just got better. I am unstoppable. And I get a 40% discount on buying stuff. That's a big part of, how I managed to buy everything. Buy all the clothing. I haven't bought every car just yet. But yeah, you can see here, Tran is missing from my contact list because I did everything. So I haven't bought all of the cars just yet. But I did buy all the most expensive ones. Let's ride in one of them. What to pick? What to pick? You look nice. Only Class B, but still. I haven't really explored the radio stations. Which is kind of sad because, they've got a metal station. So let's just sit back and enjoy it for a little while. It's kind of funny. I used to not really like the death metal growls, but after I did that LP of Brutal Legend, I kind of like it now. I guess I kind of understand the language of using them. Something like that. Whoops. Well, luckily my health bar just refilled most of the way. Also, luckily, because of my combat bonuses, I can kill these guys in 3 strikes. More specifically, with the 3rd strike. Which is good, because I've got to get through 30 of them. Apparently this event was a little bit different in the original, and you could keep repeating it even. But in this case, it's only up to 30. Ah yeah, I even get the big guys in just 3 hits. Oh Jesus, 3 with 1 blow. 1 with 1 blow. Alright, I gotta back up because it's very easy to get overwhelmed if you stand underneath the spawning point. What the hell? The guy missed me and this triggered. But yeah, if you get hit too often, then you get this poison effect and it just gets worse as you keep getting hit. And it makes your health bar drain. And it keeps draining faster the more you get hit. And the visual effect just keeps getting worse, but Wei will just keep on killing no matter what. That's no problem at all. Alright, and as you can see, you don't need to kill everybody. You just need to kill 30. so much death that you're basically guaranteed a full triad bar. Decent amount of experience, but not that much. The real bonus is getting that Triad Enforcer outfit, which also has a mechanical benefit. Anyway, looks like nothing else is popping out except the next story mission, which is kind of hiding under the Club Bam Bam sign there. Wave of people diving out of the way.
You okay?
No, I'm in big trouble. I really need your help, please.
What's wrong?
It's this.
A gun?
Yes. Charlie made me carry it in my purse for him. He didn't want the cops to find it, so he made me take it. And now he's gone, and I don't know what to do with it.
Charlie. He's one of Dog Eye's people, right?
Yes, and you took over, right? So in a way, the gun is yours too. You'll take it, won't you?
Sure, I'll take it. That's it? That's your big problem.
Yes. Thank you so much, Wei. I knew I was right to trust you.
Don't worry, Tiffany. I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Wei. You're the greatest.
Guns are kind of a bigger deal in Hong Kong than they are in the States. And Wei, having lived in the States...
Hello?
Raymond, I got something.
What is it?
Something for ballistics. A weapon belonging to one of Dog Eye's men. Do you know Charlie Pang?
Wait, how did you get Charlie Pang's gun?
Never mind. Can you use it?
Alright, meet me. I'm on my way.
Alright.
Andrew? What are you doing here? Where's Raymond?
This is something I wanted to handle personally, Wei. Do you have Charlie Pang's gun?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've noticed that guns are something of a rarity in Hong Kong. Not like in the States. This particular gun is quite important.
So who's the dead guy?
I was hoping you'd help me with that, actually. Officer Shen, take up a firing position. Okay, you ready? All right, listen. It's simple. We'll have to recreate the fight.
Craziest gun tutorial ever.
You think you can rip me off? Oh, hang on. Let's just talk about it. Fuck you. Let's go. Damn it.
First, he was in cover behind the barricade. Get down behind that barrier. Good. I want you to put some bullets in a few things. Good. By now, the van must have appeared on the scene.
I've already talked about guns earlier, so this is just sort of a bit of a rehash, at least as far as the LP is concerned.
Where are you going, Wei?
Whoops.
Then he must have run to over there. Shooting at the guys over there.
Yeah, there is no jumping from one cover to another cover button.
There was a shooter, firing shots from the passenger window. But he couldn't get a clean shot, so he pushed forward.
Vault shoots. This is one thing I didn't explain, which is that when you jump over a barricade, you get slow-mo, like this.
Keep going, come on.
Which I kind of messed up, but yeah, like that. Everything slows down. What the? Okay. I guess I missed that there was a second guy back there.
One more thing. He would have tried to get away, but Charlie disabled the car. Your weapon, officer. Good firing, Wei.
Andrew! What are you doing?
I told you he wasn't important. Now he is. He's going to help us nail Charlie Pang. It's for the greater good, Wei. You understand?
I don't think I do, sir.
Wei, I know who you are. You're just like me. You do what must be done. Local PD is on their way. You should go.
You know, I'm pretty sure coroners can tell when someone gets shot after he's dead. Interesting. Candidate suitability. Oh. Gotta lose the cops first. Hang on. Back alleys are a good way to lose people chasing you. I mean, it's not foolproof, but you can see it worked here pretty well, even though I was at level 2 police attention. Alright, so candidate suitability. Well, apparently someone was against Shen being part of this. Uh-oh. Look at that. Well, I've got some other things to take care of first. Including Hotshot. That's still going. Alright, but I needed to get properly dressed for this one.
What's up?
I got some bad news for you. You know Tiffany, from the club. She been stepping out. Seen that long-finger chow on the side.
What? There's no way.
Listen, man. I overheard her talking to him on the payphone outside her place. I guess she's keeping him off her cell.
Alright, so, welcome, everyone, to the most uncomfortable set of missions in Sleeping Dogs. Now I'm going undercover here, so I've decided to get the most subtle and undercover outfit and car. Whoops. I think that guy's dead now. So, yeah, Wei Shen is bugging a payphone to illegally listen in on one of his girlfriends who may be seeing another guy, which is hypocritical in the extreme, because, yeah, Wei Shen is not exactly exclusive here, nor does he consider any one of these women his girlfriend. I mean, I suppose I could excuse this because he needs to save face in front of the other gangsters who found out about this, but...
Hey, baby.
Hey, Sugar Lips, you keeping warm for me?
You know I am. I can't wait to see you again.
How about tonight?
I can't, baby. I have to work late.
You sure?
I'd love to, baby. You know I can't wait to taste you again. But it'll have to be next week.
If you say so.
I'll call you, and don't worry. I'll keep everything nice and juicy for you.
Son of a bitch.
But he does sound personally offended by this.
Calvin? Wait. You were right, man. She's cheating. She's meeting him sometime next week. Keep your eyes open, man. I want to know when they're meeting and where.
I mean, I suppose you could say that adultery, and even stalking, is kind of not that much compared to murder and extreme violence. Get out of the way, guy. I'm trying to move here. Yeah, I mean, objectively speaking, murder and extreme violence are worse than stalking someone. But, you know, you come into a game like this expecting extreme violence. That's what you're here for. And it's okay, because these are gangsters, these are evil people who have dedicated their lives to crime, yada yada yada. Whereas in this case, it's just a woman A woman who likes to sleep around and doesn't like to tell her boyfriends that she sleeps around. That's not what you came here to do, you know?
You can't be serious. Are you trying to insult me? That car's crap.
Let me fix my car up, then I'll take you. Easy.
Fine. It's your funeral.
Alright, looks like the police know what they're doing when it comes to stealth and making you blend in. But I don't know. I think that that branded workout outfit and the tiny car from the United Front's previous game, I think that's better at making sure I'm anonymous. Making sure people don't remember me. But hey, I don't get to choose my outfit or my ride for this mission, so might as well just keep going with it. What the hell? Alright, that was a lot of suspicion at once, just because of those two cars crashing into each other. But luckily it... Oh, come on. He stopped.
Shit. Nas.
How's the race circuit, huh?
I still own it. Hey, you know this guy weighs shit? Supposed to be sent on ye.
Every time I turn around, that guy shows up. And usually the cops aren't far behind.
Started racing the other day. Talking tough. You think he's a rat?
Or undercover. They had a problem with that a little while back. You think they kill a cop and the police just go away?
So now ye's in trouble if he is.
18K, what do I care? But if I was you, I wouldn't let them see you do anything and walk away.
This town is full of morons, Naz. It's up to me to put them into place.
Yeah? Why?
Punk by the name of Ace. Talking a lot of trash. Now the fool actually wants to race.
No accounting for people's intelligence these days. You gonna take him out?
Uh-huh. Motherfucker won't no one hit him. Telling people he's gonna take me down?
What?
Don't worry. He races me, they'll be scraping him off the pavement in sticky little pieces.
Looks like you have little choice, huh?
Dude, you are allowed to lose. That's kind of part of the deal. Even in street racing.
Yes.
Inspector, it's Way. Hotshot's gonna race Ace. And he's talking like he's not gonna let Ace make it to the finish line alive.
Do you know where and when?
Not yet. And one other thing. Hotshot and his friend Nas suspect of the cop.
Nas Singh, the drug smuggler?
Know him?
Yeah, I know him. He's an informant for HKPD. He's the one that put us on to Hotshot in the first place.
Fucking guy is playing both sides of the game.
You want me to tell him to shut up?
No. I agreed to help you, Inspector, but not if it gets me killed. Do everything you can to keep my cover intact. I'll deal with Nas myself.
All right, Wayne, all right. For now, let me know if you find out anything about that race.
By the way, the Hotshot case is the second required case in the game. The rest are optional. I figure this is partly because this sequence unlocks the races, and they definitely want you to see those. And partly because at the end of the game, Wei talks about helping her with cases, plural, and by having two required cases, that sentence can make sense. Like, no matter what else you do. Nice. 3 shields. And with that... Hell yeah, only 1 cop experience level to go. Triad affiliate Wei Shen. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, upgrades here. Only 2 left to get. Sure. Honestly, I'm not in love with either of the 2 final upgrades on the cop path. Come on, come on. Aha, here we go. Yeah, this was a report from the outside looking in. one of the other informants, I think Naz specifically, what he thinks of Wei Shen.
I'll take some, thanks. Will blow your mind.
Without knowing that Wei Shen is an undercover officer. Anyway, let's get back to stalking one of Wei Shen's many girlfriends.
Hey, it's Wei. I need a car.
A car? Takla! I'll be there right away.
Well, I will say this. You don't have to feel quite so morally responsible when you're in a game like this where you don't have control over the protagonist's actions.
You find out?
Yeah, she's meeting him later today.
I don't believe this.
Time for me to win. Come on.
I want a new car. Specifically, the low profile. So I said that to be the valet vehicle just now. Anyway. Got in my low profile vehicle again. Oh yeah, she'll never notice me. But yeah, I saw this one video recently that made a good point about, you know, not necessarily agreeing with the protagonist in a video game. That, I mean, you are in control of a video game protagonist, more so than you are of a movie or a TV show protagonist. But when you're not in control of their actions, you're not just, you're not playing their role necessarily so much as you are reliving it, enacting it. So it's more like you're playing a part in a play, rather than being the script's author, if you get what I'm saying there. But it does get a little more complicated than that. Let me show you why.
Hey, what the hell you think you're doing?
Who are you?
Wei Shen, motherfucker, who you?
Oh, so the big triad gangster is mad now? Only the big triad gangster can sleep with other people?
Whoa, Triad? I'll see you later.
Who is this not pink person? You think you can fool around on me and I don't care?
Like, she didn't mean anything to me. It was just part of work.
Work? You think I'm an idiot? You think you can go around jumping into other girls whenever you feel like it? Well, what's good for Yang is good for Yin.
Okay, look, I'm sorry, alright? I never meant for you to get hurt.
Huh. Some excuse. So you're gonna dump her now? Stay loyal to me? Or do I have to go find another man to keep you warm?
Let me see what I can do.
You know, I thought you were different. I guess not. Goodbye.
So yeah, you can grab her and throw her in a trunk and then throw that car with her in it into the ocean. I've seen it happen. But I'm not going to, because she has a point. She's completely right about Wei Shen. Let's see here. Ah, here we are. Tiffany King. Apparently she has 5 boyfriends, so she's a hypocrite too. But that does not mean that she doesn't have a point. It just means that she is also a hypocrite, and she really needs to, you know, tell people that she is seeing more than one person. And in any case, Anyway, to get the bad taste out of our mouths, I'm going to do some sick jumps. Alright, well that was a decent jump, but it wasn't really sick. Ooh, 42 meters. That was a pretty sick jump. I could do much sicker than that. Come on, come on. Airtime! Ooh, bad aim, but over 100 meters. Yeah, now that's a sick jump. So, we're back to regular videos now, and we're back to the request list. Today's movie is not the best known, at least not in the United States, but it is still one of the biggest titles in the filmography of one of the biggest names of Hong Kong action films. The movie's name is Police Story, a 1985 title starring one Jackie Chan. The story about the story. When the international profile of Hong Kong action movies blew up in the 1970s, it had a mascot, Bruce Lee. Unfortunately, Lee died just as things were really getting going, but that's a story for a later date. Instead, today's topic is Lee's greatest successor, Jackie Chan. First, let me explain something. You know how I've said a few times now that Hong Kong has the bad habit of running fads into the ground? Well, they didn't stop with popular genres. Following Bruce Lee's death, a bunch of studios put out films that aped the style of his movies and his martial arts. Or they wouldn't even bother doing that much and just gave the lead actor a name like Bruce Lee, spelled with an I, or Bruce Lei, spelled with one E, or Dragon Lee, since Little Dragon was Lee's stage name. Some of the movies position themselves as unofficial sequels, like Re-Enter the Dragon, Exit the Dragon, and Enter the Tiger, even when the only thing the movies had in common with Enter the Dragon were the title and a lead actor with Bruce Lee's haircut. Jackie Chan was originally one of these knockoffs. Chan grew up in Hong Kong and later in Australia, where he trained to become a Wu Shen in Chinese opera from a young age, and it wasn't long before he got noticed and put in movies. He was a child actor starting at the age of 5, and he was a stuntman in two of Bruce Lee's biggest hits. In 1976, Chan got his first lead role in a Bruce Lee copycat movie called New Fists of Fury. By this point, all of the obvious rip-off names were taken, so Chan at least got one that was a little clever, Sing Lung, or Become the Dragon. The movie tanked because it was yet another rip-off, and Jeet Kune Do was not Chan's strongest style. But it got him noticed by Yuen Wu-ping. You remember him from Miracle Fighters, right? Yuen was willing to let Chan take on his own identity and style, and the two movies they worked on together, Snake in the Eagle's Shadow and Drunken Master, made both of them into new Hong Kong stars and created the kung fu comedy subgenre in the bargain. Over the next decade, Jackie Chan became increasingly popular in Hong Kong, but had some trouble breaking into American markets. Even Bruce Lee had trouble making that leap, and only the stuff he made that was at least partially produced and marketed by American studios made a splash in the United States. There was one role worth noting, though. Chan had a bit part in 1981's The Cannonball Run, and when he saw that the film played outtakes during the end credits, he decided to do the same thing once he reached the director's chair. Chan would make that breakthrough he was hoping for in the late 80s, but by the time he made Police Story in 1985, he was already Hong Kong's most profitable star. He was also almost fully in control of his movies, as he was the writer, director, and star of Police Story. Jackie Chan has called this movie the best he ever made, and it did win Best Picture at Hong Kong's version of the Academy Awards. But why discuss the accolades when I should be discussing the story? The movie begins with a police briefing. Tao Chu is a businessman whose businesses all lose money. Song Ming is his bodyguard and the head of Chu's hit squad. Chu also has a nephew and a chief assistant, and there's a woman, Selina Fong, who's acting as his secretary but may not know that Chu is a crime boss. But the police will bring her in along with everyone else in Operation Boar Hunt. Jackie Chan plays Chan Ka-kui, one of the officers chosen for the operation. As the rest of the task force block the roads and infiltrate a shantytown where Chu conducts his drug deals, Chan notices one of the guards getting suspicious. He isn't able to stop him from telling Selina, or stop her from alerting her boss, but as a firefight breaks out and the cops evacuate the shanties, Chan does manage to handcuff Selina to a steering wheel through the window. Following a lengthy running gunfight, Chu and his men discover the blocked roads, so they drive 3 cars plus Chan in a 4th down through the shantytown to reach the lower road. There are even some explosions thanks to some propane tanks that were carefully established earlier. But the cars are totaled after that, so the gangsters run past yet another blocking truck that would have been defended, except the guy in charge decided to run in and help. The chase moves out onto the streets as the mobsters hijack a double-decker bus and Chan hooks himself onto the back with a borrowed umbrella. And that's not sped up footage, by the way. That bus is really moving as Jackie Chan hangs onto the side and members of the stunt team try to knock him off. And they don't just try either. But because that's no way to end an action scene, Chan climbs over a steep hill to get ahead of the bus, forces a man to stop, and then bluffs the man holding the driver hostage with his gun so that he flinches. With the knife away from his neck, the driver stops so fast that 3 men fall out the front windows. Back at the station, Chan and the operations leaders speak to the police chief, who is the typical grumpy hard-ass who's upset that the job almost went completely south. He tells Chan to go talk to the press, and once he leaves, the chief recommends making Chan a spokesman for the force. He also says to drop all charges on Selina, but he doesn't say why. After a montage of Chan being the police's poster boy, we find out why Selina won't be charged. The police want to make her a witness. She'll be an uncooperative witness, but that's not what Chu will think. The plan is to make Chu try and kill his secretary as a way to get more evidence on him, and the police put Chan on guard duty, mostly because they resent the way he's been hogging all the attention lately. Chan follows Selina, pesters her, and eventually he takes up station outside her window. He plays at spooking her, but Selina is not amused. She's still not amused when she sees a masked man with a knife in her closet, but then the man starts attacking her. Fortunately, the assassin turns out to have very poor aim and is generally pretty terrible at his job, turning what would have been a suspenseful scene into comedy hijinks. Which, as it turns out, is appropriate. When Chan runs in to save the day, we learn that the guy isn't a terrible assassin, he's a fellow officer that Chan talked into scaring Selina so that she'd start to cooperate with the police. Which gets awkward since Chan doesn't want the man to stick around, but Selina keeps breaking vases over his head, and so he has to go all weekend at Bernie's as he pretends to struggle with the masked and now unconscious man. Chan then fakes a call to his boss where he says that he's done trying to protect her, and that convinces her to say that she'll cooperate and go to his place where it's safer. Based on the look on Chan's face, it's also clear that he appreciates having a beautiful woman look to him for protection. But as the two are driving out of the apartment building's garage, they get ambushed by the real hit squad. And it is a squad, not just a dude in a leather mask with a kitchen knife. No, these guys have aluminum bats and a couple of cars, and they use them, and all of the parked cars nearby, to try and kill Chan and Selina. In the end, Selina gets Chan's gun out and shoots it into the air, scaring the hit squad away. Chan and Selina continue to Chan's place in Selina's wrecked car, and Selina says what she knows for Chan's tape recorder, but when they get to his apartment, they get ambushed again, this time by a surprise birthday party. Shenanigans commence as Chan's girlfriend May sees him with a half-dressed Selina and throws a cake in his face, without waiting for an explanation. She then comes back after a friend calms her down, but Chan doesn't know that, and he badmouths her to Selina and generally makes a complete ass of himself. So Chan gets the cake pieces thrown in his face again, this time completely deserving it. And while he's chasing after May, Selina notices a police group photo with the masked killer in it. So when Chan gets back inside, Selina flirts with him just so she can reject him. And when he wakes up the next morning, he discovers that all of his alarm clocks have been taped over, he's late for the court hearing, and Selina is nowhere to be found. Chan rushes to the hearing to give his testimony, but the defense attorney does a good job of wedging in a little doubt and trying to make it sound reasonable. So Chan pulls out his recorded evidence, but it turns out Selina recorded over it with that flirting session, and so Chu gets out on bail. With Chu back in his office, we find out that he's hiding Selina from the police and considering getting rid of her permanently. He also wants some personal revenge against Chan, so he brings in Inspector Mao, an officer on Chu's payroll, to do something about his problems. There's an extended sequence where Chan juggles a bunch of phone calls and eats instant noodles with a pair of pencils, but it has nothing to do with anything, and I'm only mentioning it so I can show some footage. An informant tips Chan off about Selina's hiding place, but it's actually a setup. So while he manages to sneak in and knock out the one visible guard next to a tied-up Selina, a bunch more jump him as soon as he unties her, and a fight ensues, one that breaks or smashes into every piece of furniture in the apartment. Inspector Mao shows up with a gun and the action pauses for a second, but then Mao turns on Chan immediately, and then the gangsters turn on Mao. As it happens, the only reason they needed Mao was so that they could use Chan's gun to frame him for killing a cop. But as Mao staggers forward, Chan uses him to distract the gangsters, and he and Selina escape to the roof. Chan then pushes Selina off the roof into a pool while he stays behind to cover for her. So they chloroform Chan and dump him on a ridge, because there'd be no point in framing him if he died. After he wakes up, Chan does something rather unexpected. He heads straight for the police precinct and tells them everything he can remember. But when the chief charges him with first-degree murder, Chan gets upset, grabs his gun, and starts ranting about how he's unappreciated, and he takes the chief hostage so that he can escape. They get into a car, and a few miles later, Chan lets the chief go. For his part, the chief is aware that Chan is still a good cop, and he lets him get away with a head start. Chan's first stop is the informant, since he knows the man set him up. The next thing he does is stake out a department store that Chu owns, and he's still there when Selina sneaks in, enters Chu's on-site office, and starts printing information off his computer network. But Chu has an alarm for that, and so he and his men head over to the store to stop her. The men spot Selina and start chasing her, so Chan starts fighting them in the crowded store hallways. People fall down escalators, they fall through lattices, and they slide along the waxed floors. Then the fight moves to this, I guess it's the a little bit of everything department, because we see people fall through shoe displays, smash through doll houses, swing baseball bats, throw down shelves full of decorations, and holy shit, where did that motorcycle come from? I know department stores are supposed to have everything, but they usually don't have everything all in one room. And yeah, I know it was all for the climactic action scene. I just think it's funny how it was all laid out. Anyway, one of the goons gets away with the briefcase Selina filled with evidence, and he throws it from the top floor to the bottom so Chu can grab it and run away. So, in one of the most iconic moments of the movie, Chan leaps onto a pole, breaks 1,000 light bulbs on his way down, smashes a glass ceiling from 3 different angles, and is still in good enough shape to grab Chu. However, Jackie Chan, the actor, didn't fare so well. The hot light bulbs gave him second-degree burns, and that landing injured his back and dislocated his pelvis. The police show up at this point, but Chan is still angry with them and holds a glass shard to Chu's neck. Selina shouts that the briefcase proves Chu's nephew killed Inspector Mao, but then Chu's lawyer starts shouting about how the police have gone too far and all this is a miscarriage of justice. So Chan, who has absolutely had it by this point, punches the chief assistant, punches the lawyer, and then gives Chu about a dozen gut punches for good measure. And as Chan's captain says that he didn't see a damn thing, the movie ends. Oh, except for all of the outtakes that play during the credits, which are a trademark of Jackie Chan Productions. The style. When Jackie Chan was growing up, he learned several different styles. Hapkido, Jeet Kune Do, karate, judo. But those aren't Chan's primary style, oh no. Chan's primary style is stunt work. And stunt work is something he learned from the masters of Hollywood. Police Story is widely considered the pinnacle of Chan's stunt work and set pieces. Chan is rather famous for doing all of his own stunts, although doing that much isn't too uncommon in a city where you can get classically trained in showy opera martial arts, and action stars regularly get promoted out of stunt teams. But even for where he lived, Chan was unique, because not only would he do his own stunts, he would plan out stunts that were goddamn insane. Even in regular fights and brawls, Chan's style is recognizable because he loves to use props and parts of the set. He'd use ladders and poles from construction sites, he'd throw food and displays in a market, and sometimes he'd even use his own clothing. But for bigger set pieces, he took a page from another actor famous for doing his own stunts, Buster Keaton. Keaton was one of the biggest names in comedy during the silent film era, and he got that recognition not only for his comedic timing, but also for performing stunts that no one in his right mind would ever do. You know the old gag of having the facade of a house fall down on a person, except the person is fine because he or she was standing under an open window? Keaton did it first, and in his case, that facade weighed 2 tons. Supposedly he went through with the stunt because he was going through a rough patch at the time, but honestly, it wasn't that much riskier than some of the other stunts he pulled back in the day. There's this one shot where he vaults from one rooftop to another, or at least that's what was supposed to happen. Instead, Keaton missed, and since film stock was expensive and he was a comedian, he kept the take and incorporated it into his tumble down the building. The man even fractured his neck once and didn't realize it until years later. But that's how it worked back in the day. Nobody was trained in stunt work, so actors either did things themselves, hired people crazy enough to risk their lives on film, or didn't do it at all. But as audiences demanded more action in the 1910s, stunt teams started to form as people learned how to do things that looked crazy with the least possible risk to their lives. The first professional stuntmen came out of the rodeo scene. Rodeo stars know how to do some tricky and physically demanding things in front of a crowd, so it was a natural fit. But the art of stunt work didn't really advance until the 1960s, when the death of the Hays Code let Hollywood create some real action movies and develop things like airbags for stunt falls, air rams to throw stunt performers through the air, and squibs that let you see the impact of a shot and not just the smoke from the gun. But the thing about stunts of any era is that you need the right people with the right ideas to make an action movie great. Stunt work is kind of like editing. If it works perfectly, you won't realize it's working, but if it goes wrong, you'll notice it's gone wrong. But with stunts, it's not just about risking life and limb to make the action look good. It's also about having people who can think up the best stunts possible and calculate all the physics and geometry and materials science it takes to make that stunt happen perfectly and in one take. Buster Keaton not only performed his own stunts, he also came up with the ideas and planned everything out, including all of the calculations. Jackie Chan was never quite so self-reliant, but his eye for talent and experience as a stuntman combined with his ambition to create some of the best practical stunts Hong Kong and Hollywood have ever seen. And I know I shouldn't talk about him in the past tense, since Chan's acting, directing, and even stunt careers aren't over just yet, but he is too old now to perform the kind of stunts that made his career in the 80s and early 90s. Thanks for joining me again for today's movie review. I hope I'll see you next time for the other The Raid.